Hey everyone, this is Lynette Bledsoe coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. Lynette Bledsoe coming to you live from LynetteBledsoe.net. Not sure why I always forget that part, but had to fix a couple things before we actually went live today. So if you're just joining us, thank you very much for being on here. And as the title says in this video, if you're joining us, like, share, tag anyone that you think might benefit from this. We're going to go over 7 secrets that business owners use in their business so that maybe if you're not using them, you may want to get a pen and paper just to see what those 7 tips are. And thank you for joining us. Okay, so number 1, and this is going to be totally different from probably what you're learning in anywhere, but you've probably heard me say this before, is you want to make sure that you're branding yourself. Okay, so branding yourself could be creating videos, like a blog. If you take a look at all the business owners from your company, they probably have their own blog. If you take a look at all the top leaders in your company, they probably more than likely they have a blog. And there's actually a cool thing that we use. And first, let me just step back a little bit. I know a lot of you have asked us for the replay from yesterday's Twitter training. And sorry, once those trainings are live, they're actually a part of a private community that we're a part of. And this private community is for anyone who is in home business, they're in network marketing, direct sales, it doesn't matter. But basically, we have access to those, all the replays and things like that. So if that's something that you'd like, or if you receive our emails, we actually sent out 2 Twitter trainings. So if you do get those emails from us, take a look at your email. We did send 2 of those out today. It's not yesterday's, but we did provide you with 2 trainings that we were able to share in regards to Twitter training. If you don't receive our emails, feel free to send me a message and just say, want to be added. Let me know what your message is. And hey, Michelle. So that's, go back. Okay. So like I said, brand yourself. If you've ever listened to myself or my husband, we always talk about branding yourself because you just never know. You never know if something happens in a company. You never know. You just believe me. We've been in this industry since 1999. And we've seen companies come and go, and not saying that anything's going to happen to your company. You just never know. Maybe after a couple of years, you just change your mind and decide to go elsewhere. If you've always been just promoting that company, when you go somewhere else, then your friends and family or whoever was following you, they're going to say, oh, what happened? What happened to that company? So you don't want to do that. You want to brand yourself so that no matter where you go, there you are. Okay. So one of the things, and I said this earlier, one of the things is we actually use a cool system which allows us to brand ourselves. So I'm going to show you screenshots too. I'm going to show you one of the things. So we talked about branding yourself. You can do that in videos, in a blog. So what we actually have, and let me just show you this really quick. Remember I told you we're part of like a private community. Being members of that community, you actually get a blog too. So this is my blog. Let me just say, this is WordPress. I was using blogger.com for years until I transitioned in about a year ago. I only joined so that I can have a free WordPress, honestly. This is my blog. So if you're like me and you haven't gone to WordPress yet because you're just totally scared, let me just tell you, with this community, you actually get a blog for free with it's a membership, private membership situation. But you actually get a WordPress blog for free. And honestly, that was the only reason why I joined. I just wanted my WordPress, and it's just 3 simple steps. You just basically turn it back on. So that's just one of the ways I just wanted to share. So if you're like me, totally clueless about WordPress, it took me years to switch over to WordPress, only because I didn't want the impatience of having to work WordPress with my husband, because I'm not patient. He's not patient with me, to try to figure that stuff out. I wanted to actually set this up myself. So that, well, Yes, Lisa. And just to answer Lisa's question, WordPress is free, but this is a different type of WordPress where you don't have to pay for hosting and all the plugins that come with it so that you can show up on Google. So I believe either WordPress.com is free or WordPress.org is free. One of them is free. One of them is not free, and this is that one. It's a little bit more advanced, so that part is not free. So just that. So blogging. If you're not blogging, I suggest that you blog, share free content, get your name out there, because believe me, once you start doing that, people will find you and they want to work with you. We get those type of situations all the time, or they want to know, how did you set your blog up that way? So that's just one tip. Make sure that you're branding yourself. Super important. I wish we would have did that from the very beginning. We did not. I wish we did. We probably started blogging, I think like 2 or 3 years ago is when we actually started blogging. And thank you very much, Lisa. But we actually started blogging. And there's a lot of top leaders that use the same, I guess you can say, community that we do. And theirs looks super professional. So I just did my best without not any knowledge. All I did was type a couple things, put it together, and it's on. So that's just one. Make sure that you're branding yourself no matter what, however you do that. Number 2, the ability to create offers. So make sure that you're using some way of creating offers. So remember, in one of the last videos, I said make sure that you're sharing value. So let's say if you're in health and wellness, just using that, and you want to share, maybe, remember I talked about sharing generic information. So if you're sharing, let's say if you want to share 7 tips to have a skinny waist, right? Every woman wants to know that stuff. But you don't just want to put it out there and put it on Facebook, put it on YouTube. You don't know who's watching that information. So why not use something that helps you create offers like that looks professional? So one of the things that we actually use, and I'll show you my back office in, is we use, these are like different offer pages that we can offer. So let's say if you were in travel, just using an example, if you were in travel, you would probably use that first one. You can create totally different type of pages. Let's say if you're an author, or if you want to use this first one right here, and you want to create an ebook of different stuff, maybe 7 secrets to having a flawless skin. You can create that also. So make sure that you're using something that helps you create a list. Because guess what? If you're using videos, if you're just posting on Facebook, you don't know who's going to your website, right? This was a super big mistake that we did. Most of the top leaders, they have a list of customers, and I have it written down. They have a list of customers and prospects. So for instance, I think our list would have been longer if we would have been doing this from the very beginning. We have a list of, I think, over probably close to 30,000 now. But we have a list of people who are interested in the niche from our company. And I'm not going to mention it because it's not fair. But we have a list of people who are interested in the niche of our company. So the emails that they receive are for that niche. Not all of those people are going to buy, and not all of those people are going to join every day. But because they're interested in that topic, they're going to open that email more so, and they're more so going to buy from you when they're ready to buy. It's always about timing, when they see a particular offer, or they see a particular thing, or they're just ready to join because they want a discount on your product. So that's very important. If you're not creating a list, which again, we didn't do from the beginning because I had no clue about creating offers and collecting those emails. If you're not doing that, make sure you're doing that. And again, those were just different examples of how, basically, let me just show you really quick. When they click, you see where it says, it's in orange. I'm not sure what it says. I think it says free something. When they click that free thing, they're going to start getting emails from you about, like I said, if you were in beauty, they're going to start getting emails from you about how to keep their skin clean or clear, or how to get rid of the under eye darkness under the eye or whatever. They actually want that information, and you're sending that information to the right people rather than spamming just on Facebook, right? Because most of the time, and what's bad is that now is that Facebook has a way that you can unfollow people. So you're spamming on Facebook and nobody's watching. So it's kind of a waste of time, right? And then the third one is having a customer relationship manager. So obviously if they're going to that offer, they're interested in that topic, right? You need a way to collect that information with customers and leads so that you can follow up with those people. So this is something that we use, and I'm not going to share the customer information. So you see there, that's something that we use. And basically what we can do is we can go up with those people. We can separate them and say who's hot, who's interested, who I need to call right now, who's ready to get started. You can kind of take notes and rate that person. You can rate them on that website. So it helps you create like a schedule. So if I need to call somebody today, it kind of reminds me, okay, you need to call this person today because they're super interested. If they mentioned while you spoke to them over the phone, they mentioned that tomorrow's their son's birthday. You can say, okay, maybe tomorrow I would send a message and say, hey, have your happy birthday to your son. Congratulations. It just helps me keep track of everyone who's hot and maybe who's not. So you don't want to spend so much time on that person because you're just wasting your time, right? And then number 4, training. So in the beginning of this video, I talked about the Twitter training, right? Every week we have access to training. And let me just show you the example. So every week we have access to some different training, right? And we share it with as many as we can. So it's 100% free, 100% up to date. But the bad thing is, is if once that live video is done, we can't share it outside of that community. We have access to like a ton of trainings in our back office, but once that training is over, as many of you guys saw, I can't, we don't have access to share that information. I can just share a limited amount of information. But if you're not being trained on things that are up to date, things that are working now, like I said in one of my videos, I don't know, I said that this community actually helped us go from nothing to after 2 years being able to reach the highest level of our company. And how else would we stay up to date? Companies are great with providing training, but sometimes you need training outside. You need to know what other leaders in your network marketing industry, what they're using too. Because if you can grab like one little nugget or one little change that some other leader from another company is using, and you can take full steam. And that's what we did. That's why we rose so high. That's why we went, that's why we reached the highest level of that company so fast. It's because we used the tips that we learned from every leader. And like I said, they're up to date, up to the minute. They change every week. So you know what's working right now, not what worked in the 1970s. Because that doesn't look good. And as a matter of fact, Lisa, just to answer your question, Lisa's asking any tips for someone who is not a good writer. That's the beauty, actually, because I wasn't a good writer either, and I didn't know what to blog about. I use the trainings that we have in our back office to get an idea of what to write about. So in a sense, like yesterday's training was on Twitter. I would do a training watching that replay. If I didn't watch it live, I can do a training, which I will do in a couple of days. I will watch that replay and create a blog on Twitter. So when you guys see that blog on Twitter, that's where I got that information from. It was from that blog. And like I said, these are not tips that were from 1980s or when Twitter first came out. This would be what's working right now. And how else would I get that information if I weren't attending or I didn't have access to all that training? I don't know. There's like so many trainings in that back office that you can blog and create content every day if you wanted to, without having to sit there and think. That replay or those trainings are going to help you. So that's something that, Lisa, if you have any questions, just let us know. But that's actually how we create content every day, or you can create